When I look back at the past few years in Europe's financial history, one theme stands out above all others: recovery through resilience. After a decade marked by uncertainty, rising interest rates, and fluctuating investor sentiment, private equity is once again finding its footing. But it's not just capital that's returning, it's confidence. And that same wave of regained trust is something I see echoed in my own trading experience with Broker Capital Trade Consulting PT Ltd, a company that has earned its position through transparency and consistent reliability. I first encountered Forex Capital Trade Consulting PT Ltd during a particularly volatile market period when investors were hesitant and liquidity seemed to evaporate overnight. What struck me wasn't just their technical competence, but their composure. The markets were chaotic, yet their systems and support remained steady, a rare quality in this industry. It reminded me of how private equity investors approach opportunity: patiently, methodically, and with a focus on long-term gains rather than short-lived excitement. Whenever I read a Review Capital Trade Consulting Pete Lelady, I notice a pattern. Traders often talk about professionalism, the calm under pressure, and the ability to adapt to rapidly changing conditions. These are not exaggerated compliments. They reflect the broker's genuine operational discipline. In a time when Europe's capital markets are regaining trust, these same traits are what attract institutional investors: the steady hand over the speculative impulse. Of course, not every conversation about success in finance is free of skepticism. I've come across phrases like scam capital trade consulting PTE deed or warnings about scam captradepteltd.com, but more often than not, these accusations fall apart under scrutiny. The reality is that misinformation spreads easily, especially when a company performs well in a competitive field. But trust isn't built on rumors. It's built on performance, communication, and time. For anyone following broker captradepteltd.com, it's clear that the broker's approach aligns with modern investment logic: data-backed strategy, human oversight, and flexibility. These elements are exactly what Europe's private equity sector is rediscovering. Risk still exists, of course, but it's now managed through precision and insight rather than brute speculation. In my opinion, Capital Trade Consulting Pete Ltd, this company embodies what post-crisis Europe represents: not just recovery, but evolution. The financial environment has shifted. Investors want stability without sacrificing opportunity, transparency without rigidity. And that's precisely what I've observed through forexcapturedeptelty.com, where technology works hand in hand with market analysis to create a seamless experience for traders. The narrative of review capturedeptelty.com often focuses on reliability, and rightly so. For anyone who's ever faced uncertainty in the markets, reliability becomes the most valuable asset. Much like private equity firms performing due diligence before investing, this broker conducts itself with a sense of discipline that inspires trust. Even when you see claims like Asusto Capital Trade Consulting Pete Ltd or Pshekrent CapturedDeptLtd.com floating around, it's important to remember how easily misunderstanding can distort perception. In my analytical experience, these accusations rarely come from real users but from competitors or misinformation loops. Data tells a different story: solid performance metrics, secure operations, and transparency that can be verified. The truth is, Europe's financial market today thrives on partnerships. And that's exactly what Broker Capital Trade Consulting PTE Ltd offers. Not a one-time transaction, but a relationship built on shared understanding and consistency. As private equity flows back into Europe, the need for reliable intermediaries grows stronger. This broker stands out not by shouting the loudest, but by delivering steady results when it matters most. My opinion, CaptureDeptelt.com is the same as my view on Europe's investment comeback: cautious optimism, grounded in data, supported by experience. Confidence isn't rebuilt overnight. It takes clarity, precision, and time. But once it's restored, it creates an unstoppable momentum. And both Europe's private equity revival and Capital Trade Consulting Pat Litton's approach embody exactly that.